Both the Wisconsin Badgers and the Miami Hurricanes had late-season aspirations of competing in college football's Final Four, but those hopes were dashed as they lost conference championship games. However, they will still get to play in the New Year's Six contest against each other, as they will meet in the Orange Bowl on Saturday, December 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Wisconsin is 12-1 straight up and 8-5 against the football point spread. Miami, who is playing in its own stadium for this one, is 10-2 straight up and 5-7 against the spread. Wisconsin had a 13-game winning streak snapped by Ohio State by a 27-21 score, but because the Buckeyes had 2 losses, the Big Ten will not have a representative in the football playoff. The Badgers, who came into the game and out of it with the top-ranked defense in the nation, uncharacteristically gave up 238 rushing yards to the Buckeyes. Potential weaknesses on offense were exposed because Ohio State concentrated on stopping Jonathan Taylor, who went into last weekend accounting for 36.3% of all of Wisconsin's offensive yards, but he was held to just 41 on the day. The freshman, who accumulated 1,847 on the ground for the season, would seem to have come up big for Wisconsin to have its best chance, because quarterback Alex Hornibrook, though more than just a caretaker, is prone to mistakes, as he had 15 interceptions on the season. J.T. Barrett, Ohio State's quarterback, had 2 long touchdown passes, but outside of that did very little against the Wisconsin stop unit, which not only ranks number 1 in total defense, but 2nd in rushing defense and 1st in pass efficiency defense. They're allowing just 13.2 points per game, so this is likely to be quite a challenge for a Miami club that converted only 29.4% of its third down opportunities, which is a dismal 124th out of 129 FBS teams. Think about that for a second, as numbers such as those are normally associated with teams that sit at home to watch the bowl games. The Miami Hurricanes seem to have lost some intensity since scoring their 41-8 win over Notre Dame, as they were flat against Virginia, then lost to Pittsburgh and were manhandled by Clemson in last week's Atlantic Coast Conference title contest. They were never serious contenders, falling by a score of 38-3. What was disappointing is that they never even got out of the gate. They allowed Kelly Bryant to complete his first 15 passes and gained only 214 yards, not scoring at all until they hit a gratuitous field goal with 3.5 minutes left. Malik Rosier, who went 14 for 29 against Clemson, did throw for 25 touchdowns and had 553 rushing yards, but was only a 55% passer. Even though he makes plays, he is not the kind of passer who is able to consistently move the chains, and consistency is what is going to be needed against this caliber of a defense. Top-shelf running back Mark Walton was knocked out of action earlier in the season, so Travis Homer had to take over in the backfield. And even though he has been more than adequate on an overall basis, he's had 53 yards rushing in his last 2 games. Not coincidentally, those games were defeats, and it is questionable as to how far he gets against the Badgers, who allowed 2.96 yards per attempt. Miami looked extremely formidable in taking back-to-back victories over Virginia Tech and Notre Dame, but they had close calls with Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Florida State. They can't, however, make a lot of plays on the defensive side because there is so much speed and athleticism. They achieve a great deal of penetration, and in fact they lead the nation with 43 sacks, which should bother Hornibrook a great deal. They are also 2nd best in tackles for loss, and so they may have what it takes to mitigate the effects of Jonathan Taylor, at least to some extent. Since we see the Canes sputtering on offense, finding themselves in tough down and distance situations, and lacking confidence overall, the most judicious play here might be to take the under on the total of 45 points in the Orange Bowl. For our pick and prediction on this game and every other game this week, and a wealth of free stats and information, check out bangthebook.com.